Star Wars 7 by 7 episode 2362. So, here we go. One of the big reveals out of the season finale of The Mandalorian is this new series coming, the Book of Boba Fett. But what exactly is the deal with that? Here is what little we know so far, all nice and neatly packaged in one place. Punch it. Hey Rebel Rouser, I'm Alan Voivod and this is Star Wars 7 by 7, your daily dose of Star Wars joy, and thank you so much for joining me for it. So, with the last few days, I have been checking various online sources and seeing what's out there about this Book of Boba Fett business, and right now, there isn't much. Surprise, surprise, there are a lot of people talking about, oh my gosh, the Book of Boba Fett, this is amazing, but what it actually is, nobody knows. One thing that seems to have caused a little bit of confusion has to do with release date situations. So if you think back to the Disney Investor Day where the Book of Boba Fett was not mentioned, there was a mention of The Mandalorian and the fact that Season 3 would be coming around Christmas of 2021. And then, of course, we get the season finale of The Mandalorian, which then reveals the Book of Boba Fett is coming in December of 2021, which is right around Christmas, surprise, surprise. So that led some people to wonder whether Season 3 of The Mandalorian is going to be called The Book of Boba Fett. There were, similar kinds of titlings of seasons with the Clone Wars animated series, like Rise of the Bounty Hunters, for example, was one of the season titles, if you will, for the Clone Wars. It was Season 2, actually, specifically, The Rise of the Bounty Hunters, and Season 3 was something like Secrets Revealed, and Season 4 was Battle Lines, and so on and so forth. So yeah, you get the idea. But it does seem to be the case that the Book of Boba Fett and Mandalorian Season 3 are entirely separate animals. At least that's what I'm hearing. That's what Jordan Mazon is saying. Sorry, Jordan. Over at Cinelinx. And that's also what the trades are reporting as well. In fact, Deadline Hollywood back in November, and it's Nelly Andreeva, I believe it was, reported on rumors of a Boba Fett spin-off series, as early as November. So this has been kicking around for a while. And let's not forget, of course, that Kathleen Kennedy, in her portion of the Disney Investor Day presentation, talking about the Mandalorian and Rangers of the New Republic and Ahsoka, talked about future stories also, like made a little nod to and future stories and saying basically that this wasn't everything that was going to lead up to a climactic story event between the Mandalorian and Rangers and Ahsoka. So that left the door open for other stories and other reveals, which the Book of Boba Fett seems to be one of them. As for what the Book of Boba Fett will actually be about, well, that is a complete and utter mystery. There are no leaks, there are no rumors, there are no spoilers, there's no speculation out there that I've been able to find even suggesting what it's going to be about. At this point, all we have is the speculation that you and I can do together just based on sheer logic. And I'd start by saying that because of what I referenced earlier, Kathleen Kennedy saying the and future stories leading to a climactic story event does suggest that we are going to stay in the current timeline with the Book of Boba Fett, or at least the majority of its storytelling content will be headed in that direction. I've seen things wondering whether there will be flashbacks or information about how he survived the Sarlacc pit or what he's been doing over the last 5 years, and while that certainly makes sense and would be helpful to fill in the backstory, especially with some of the questions that I've raised on the show about how odd it seems that he still has access to Slave One all this time and yet wasn't able to find his armor on the same planet over the course of 5 years, even though he is this vaunted bounty hunter, right? So yes, there are opportunities to fill in that backstory, but it does seem like he is going to be moving forward rather than backward in the storytelling situation. And the fact that we are seeing him go back to Tatooine and specifically take out Bib Fortuna take over the throne, which suggests he's taking over a criminal syndicate. That suggests that he's going to get into all kinds of hot water with other criminal syndicates, and maybe the Hutts, maybe not. I mean, if Bib Fortuna is on Jabba's throne, then maybe the Hutts are not as big of an influential force in the galaxy at this time as they were back in the days of the original trilogy, and even going back before that. And considering where the makers of The Mandalorian went with that season finale, that does open up another potential line of speculation for the Book of Boba Fett, which I will share with you in just a second. I do want to say, though, quickly that, 2020 has been a ridiculous clusterfest, and that is putting it mildly on so many levels. It has been such a difficult and challenging year, and I just want to say thank you so much for taking the time out of your day for a little bit of entertainment, a little bit of escapism. I hope that even in the midst of everything that's been going on, that you have been able to get a daily dose of joy through Star Wars 7x7. I hope that I've been able to deliver that for you. It is my joy and my privilege to be able to do this on a daily basis, and I hope that it has been a light in your life as well. Thank you so much for your support, your kind words, throughout this year, and always. I have been sustained by it as well, and I hope that that is a wonderful and mutually, virtually reinforcing cycle that we can continue on, and hopefully we have brighter days ahead of us. All right, so this thing I want to put out there for your consideration, I'd love to hear what you think about it. Boba Fett has been out of the game for 5-6 years or whatever, and when I saw the title, The Book of Boba Fett, the first thing that occurred to me is that he likely has some scores that he wants to settle. And I would imagine that top of the list would be the people who made him fall into the Sarlacc pit and got him into all of his problems. So that, of course, would be Han Solo, Chewbacca, Princess Leia, Lando Calrissian, and Luke Skywalker. But from what we know about Boba Fett so far, he won't actually go after someone, he won't kill anybody or take him prisoner necessarily unless there is a bounty on that person's head. So unless there's a bounty on the heads of any of those former Rebellion, now New Republic folks, it stands to reason that he would leave them alone unless now that he seems to be taking over this particular crime syndicate, whatever was being run by Bib Fortuna, Boba Fett is the person now who can put bounties on people's heads. So he could actually be the one to send out bounty hunters and say, go get these guys, because these are the guys that knocked me into the Sarlacc pit, and I really want to get my revenge on them. So we could be tying some original trilogy characters, some New Republic characters back into the storytelling once again. But again, this is just speculation on my part. It seems logical to me. It seems like it makes sense, but time will tell, and hopefully we'll find out a little bit more about it later this week. Wouldn't that be nice? But for now, that is just going to do it for the show today. It just remains for me to say thank you so much for joining me for it, as always, and may the Force be with you wherever in the world you may be.
Star Wars 7x7 is not endorsed or sponsored yet by Lucasfilm Limited, Disney, or 20th Century Fox, and is intended for entertainment and information purposes only. Star Wars, the Star Wars logo, all names and pictures of Star Wars characters, vehicles, and any other Star Wars-related items are registered trademarks and/or copyrights of Lucasfilm Limited or their respective trademark and copyright holders. May the Force be with them. All original content is copyright 2020 by Star Wars 7x7. We hope you love it.